I created this for you to share with you. So let me get started here. So when I think about why real estate reviews, right, I think that a lot of times agents are focusing on more low value touches that aren't really providing value. And if we want to set ourselves, I went to Ninja Selling. I have the book in here, you'll see it. So Ninja Selling is where Caleb and I, where I was from, where Caleb is located. Larry Kendall started it. It is a selling program, but it's really putting yourself in a position of the trusted advisor. So thinking of ourselves more like your CPA, your doctor, people that are going to be, you're going to go to for advice, because unfortunately in our business, oftentimes we're more lumped into like the car salesman role, right? And I believe when you get into that trusted advisor role, that's when you get referrals, right? And like I said, this is the thing that Darren and I committed to doing. And if we weren't preparing for appointments or managing under contracts, this is what we worked on. So again, I'm really enjoying this kind of dive into faith and business. And so I wanted to just share a couple things with you here. So in Proverbs 27:23, it says, know well the condition of your flocks and give attention to your herds. So in my opinion, this is, oh, hey, Nikki, how are you? Miss you. So for me, when I think of your flocks and your herds in this situation, these are your real estate clients, right? This is your community, right? And I believe we really need to steward well the people that God has entrusted to us. And so when I think about real estate, it's just not selling, it's an opportunity to serve with excellence. And I think even pre-God, part of how I found, and Darren and I found so much success in real estate was because we always had a servant mindset. I got fired once my first year, and I don't think I was not thinking of my client. It was when the market was so crazy and she had a low budget and we finally got her under contract, and then she wanted to terminate and she felt pressure from me to stay in. And looking back on it, I think that pressure was there, but it was more in the like, I don't know if I can find you another house. Like, I was so thankful to find anything for her in that market. And she fired me, and it took her 7 years to buy. So there was some truth on where I was coming from, but it really made me relook at my business and make sure. So I always think if you take care of people, the money comes. And then I think the Bible calls us to work in excellence, right? So in Colossians 3:23-24, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving, right? And so I think he calls us to be in a position of excellence. And to me, if you put together this for your clients, this puts you in a different level. Our clients expect them. If we're running late, they ask us why and want to look at them. So this is the program. If you're interested, it is a wonderful program. If you're not familiar, the book is here. They have a podcast. You can go to their in-person classes. I know for people local here, they've been coming to Greenville some, and so might be something that would be a real blessing to your business. And when we look at it, I think it's important too that we look at conversion ratios and real estate, because I feel like so much is taught on kind of this left side here, the mailers, let's farm an area, let's cold call, things like that. And really I always say it's a contact sport, right? And so if you look at even past buyers and past sellers, 9-to-1 and 4-to-1, like those are crazy, right? It's still, to this entire time, even with us moving across the country, Darren and I only know of, is it 2 or 3 people that haven't used us? And one of them that never used us, we didn't do a great job moving across the country and communicating with everybody. It happened so quickly. But referrals are 3-to-2, right? For every 3 that you get connected, you should convert 2. And when Darren and I did the numbers for these real estate reviews, we tracked them very closely. We had a really tight system from signed exclusive right to sell or buy to closing. And part of it was tracking where our people came from. And we tracked that for every 3 real estate reviews we did, 1 turned into a piece of business. Not necessarily that person. It could be a referral. Hey, my sister, whatever. And so that is a really high ratio. So I think this is really, really worth your time. That is if you do them in person and you follow up. Okay, so Don't skip on that. You've got to ask for the business. You've got to, like I said, it's a contact sport. You got to meet with your clients. And so when I want you to just kind of think of shifting your mindset from a salesperson to an advisor. If you guys have a CPA or a financial planner, what do? They get together with you every year and they kind of review your assets, right? And just if you have a hard time calling your clients asking for meetings, remember this isn't a sales pitch. This is about educating them, right? This is a value add. And it's going to teach your clients how to leverage their home equity, which I think is super important. Especially with where we are in the economy and inflation, there might be people that don't understand that they could pull a home equity line or do a second mortgage, and they might need it to live on right now. So I often think of like, by us not doing what we're doing, are we potentially stopping a blessing from somebody else and a piece of information that would really help them and where they're at? Or maybe you'll get an investor client, right? And so just I want you to kind of think about it that way. So what is included in my real estate review? So you're going to, of course, give them their home value. I like to do market trends. You have to have a net sheet. We're going to talk about the importance of that. That's going to tell them what their equity position is. And then this is going to give you all of the information to talk to them about, hey, what about investments? Do you need to do upgrades? Do you need to pay down debt? I mean, I think statistically our country is in the most consumer debt it ever has been. So I know that there's people right now that are, refinancing their house to pay off some high interest rate credit cards and things like that. And so, use this as an opportunity just to serve them. You're not going in there trying to get a client. You're just trying to serve them well. So here's the tech that you are going to need, that I use at least for real estate review creation. Please don't skimp on this if you're going to decide to use it. So Focus First is a pricing software. And so every agent should be using this. It is great for pricing houses. It's a great tool. I'm going to show you what it looks like here in a second. It's $25 a month. It's worth every penny. Darren and I are selling 25% of what we used to sell, right? We are not in the high production that we used to be. And we still absolutely use this on every listing appointment and every real estate review. And then Hazine, I'm going to show you, but this creates a digital flip book. So if you're trying to get your business digital, $49 a year, you can put your listing presentation in here, your real estate reviews. It looks super professional. So I'm going to show you guys that. And then if you're going to use the templates that I'm going to share with you today, those are in Canva. So you're just going to need to make a copy of them. And then you're going to need to brand them for your company and, change them however you want for your business. And then, of course, your MLS access. So that's what you're going to need here. I think really, really affordable for the amount of input. And when you're implementing these guys, when you're going to deliver them, you can do a Zoom call. In person is best. You can mail them, but never email them. I played with that just a tiny bit. People won't open them. It's just not worth your time and energy to take that time to create it. And Zoom is so, COVID, I think a blessing of COVID is people are used to being on meetings like this. And so I think Zoom is totally fine. I mailed them. I would ask for the appointment. If they didn't get back to me, I would say, hey, I popped it in the mail, and I would follow up. I always did them in a binder, like a 3-ring binder, a little one, but you could also get one of those, what are those things where you like put the little edge on it? I can't think of what those are called. Anybody know? You do this with the machine, it turns it into a little booklet. You get like plastic on the front and the back.
Spiral bound or something like that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Sometimes my brain, it doesn't recall the stuff. So yes, you can do that for a lot cheaper. The price for me for printing, binder, all of the things, mail was between $15 and $20 a review. So just for your budget purposes, and I'm going to tell you guys, it's worth it all day, every day. And you want it to look professional because you're their trusted advisor, right? So please don't skimp there. And if you need to just get a couple at a time, do it that way. And so I wanted to give you kind of a little script on how you might book this appointment, right? And make this yours, but I did this in my business for everybody. I did it for past clients. I did it for friends. I did it for sale by, when I first started, I started at Keller Williams. Keller taught me call for sale by owners, and I did, and I had some in my database. Then I got 2 deals like 6 years later from for sale by owners just by staying in touch with them. And it was these books. They would never text me back. And again, I mean, one house was 600,000, right? You're like 18,000. That was worth me popping these in the mail every year, right? So you could say, hey, hey, Tracy, I do annual real estate reviews for all of my clients, just like a CPA or a financial advisor, to review your assets. Do you have a few minutes to chat to go over your home value and some strategies that might benefit you? So if this doesn't fit for you, make it yours. But I just wanted to give you guys a way to ask for the appointment, right? Texting is so easy, you know what I mean? Or I like voice messaging. I think it's a little more personal, and then you don't lose tone. But there's just a quick, easy script that you guys can use for this. So here's what my real estate reviews look like. So now that I am virtual, so I'm not selling here in South Carolina. I do not believe the Lord is calling us here, really. We are selling in Colorado. I really feel drawn to get into teaching. And so all of ours have to be digital, right? If we're not having any in-person meetings. So this, guys, you can see this, right? Okay, so this is Hazine. So this is that website that I was telling you guys about. So you load it into here, you just upload a PDF, and literally in like 5 seconds, you have this cool digital book. Okay, so usually this, the template that I'm going to give you is going to have a spot to put your client's name and their address. This is just a general one. It is powerful to personalize everything. I teach on that all the time. And so you should absolutely personalize this for every person that you meet with. So, hey, Lindsay, good timing. I'm just getting started to go into the meat and potatoes of the book. So this is in Hazine. This is the $49 a year. Make sure you personalize your book. So it's really cool, right? So you go through it. So how my real estate reviews start, and are with, I pull the public records. Okay, so this is Colorado public records, however you pull your public records, because I want to get total and finished square feet. Okay, so that's what you've seen that I've done here on the bottom. And I realized I created this book instead of my assistant, which is why there's missing pages. There is a front page that goes in front of this that says public records. So that will come in the template that you have, so it looks perfect. My assistant was out of town, so then you get this not perfect thing, but hey, it's here and it exists. So, so you want to figure out your total and your finished square feet, okay, for pricing. And if you're not doing that already, I'm going to just show you why it's so important here in a second. So, and this is just the rest of our public records. And then this is going to go into the, again, I don't have all the pretty pages in here. I will show you, they look nice, but then it would go into your market analysis of the home. So these pages, guys, are the Focus First software. And so this is where you're going, every MLS, you can upload into this system, the Focus First, and get these great pricing graphs. And it's so much information for your clients. If you're sending these in the mail, guys, make sure you give a front page intro kind of overview of what's going on here, right? Because if you just send this in the mail and they don't know what they're teasing through, it can be a lot of information. The other thing that you can do if you're doing it on a digital presentation is you can make, and you can make it in a paper thing. You can just make notes on each page, just trying to show people what they're looking at if you can't meet in person. I had a letter template that I would put on the front that said like, hey, I looked at the value of your home since we haven't connected. If you've made any upgrades or finished a basement or whatever, I don't know that going into this pricing. So make sure you respond and let me know you've gotten this and all of that. So I love this system. So this is going to tell you the odds of selling, right? So in there, based on the comparables I pulled for this house, their odds of selling, it says 29%. It does not count the for sales sold. So when I go through this, whatever 5 out of 7, whatever that math is actually likely more their odds of selling. But they just need to know we're in the market that we're in, and you have to price your home appropriately if they want to talk about selling. And then this is just the buying pattern. And so you can see here, most of the activity is happening in that summer fall time for the comparables. Some neighborhoods are super seasonal, some are not. Some markets are super seasonal. So I think this is really good just to guide your clients through on that. And then I love this. So this gives you, I don't know if you can see here, but right here, it's going to give you the days before closed is 39. So right, this market's still moving pretty quickly. For an average 30-day close, it would take 9 days to go under contract, and the average close price is $542,500. So I just think that's a good metric for people just to get them in the ballpark. And then what I do, so you'll see you get this graph here. And these are the ones that expired. These are the greens are the actives and the blues are the solds, okay? And so I actually add in these little dots for what their price is without a finished basement or with a finished basement, because I get that question a lot. I feel like in my appointments, if I finished my basement, how much more would my house potentially be worth? So I like to mark that on a house that it makes sense for. So I've added that in here. So again, tons of great info for your clients. The other thing too, when I use these in a listing appointment, like you can see here, this one didn't sell, right? And it's above the line. So if your client's price is significantly above the line, you can kind of use this as a talking point. Use data when you talk to your clients, right? You should never be using anything but that. And so it can kind of show them like, hey, and I've actually in appointments like put an X on the chart of like, hey, this is where you want to sell. Do you think your house is going to sell, right? Like Darren and I just turned down a listing in the last couple of months. They bought it and they wanted to list it $100,000 over market value. And we told them, I was like, you'll find 20 agents that'll put a sign in your yard at that price, but we're not willing to. Like, this is the top that we would go with you, right? And we use data to support it, and we turned down that listing, and the house is on the market, and it's price reduced twice, and it still hasn't sold, right? So we may end up getting them back. So use this, guys, especially if you're newer or you need more pricing help. I just think these are so helpful. Oh yeah, see, you're supposed to have these pretty pages like this. See, guys, I got one in here, but not all of them. So, and you guys will be able to manipulate this and make it yours, of course. So then you're going to put in your comparable properties. I have a case of the ADD. I like to highlight everything. Anything that I need to talk about in this appointment, I highlight. So here I've digitally highlighted it, but you can highlight it in purpose. And sometimes even in the listing comments, I'll say, $30,000 backyard landscaping or kitchen with these or whatever. I'll highlight that for them. So then you're going to put in your comparables here and go through your clients with those. When I'm in a listing appointment, I always write comments at the top because I want to know what I wanted to say about that house in the appointment. So I will literally write bigger this, smaller that, this is nicer, that's this, just to keep, again, if y'all don't have the ADD, maybe you don't need that, but I need a lot of help to focus. And so I use that to focus. So this is kind of what you'll see. So I'll just pop through here, but then you'll go through your comparables with them. And if you guys want a pricing class someday, I feel like I'm a listing specialist, and so I would be happy to go through a pricing class with you. Pricing is so important, and so many people don't look at enough variables. Okay, so then you're going to get to your net sheet section. So raise your hand if you guys are using net sheets. Tracy is, Lindsay is, Caleb, Brian. So pretty much everybody on here is using net sheets, it seems like. Okay. I have one that I'm going to give to you today that you can, see, and now I got two in, I have two in here on purpose. I was like, dang it. For Lindsay, you just joined. I made this book, not my assistant. It's not exactly perfect, but it's doing the job. So for your net sheet, I love a net sheet, and we'll talk about it more later, but you'll see here I have one price without a finished basement and then a price here with a finished basement. And you'll see, guys, we're going to take out their taxes, their commissions, their title insurance, all of that, because what really matters in an appointment is the bottom line. And so for those of you who are seasoned agents, if you're newer agents and you're not using this, you've got to use a net sheet. It is probably the most important part. And I don't know, I used to love to compete on listing appointments. Like, I just loved it. Like, you tell me meet with other people, like, whatever reason in my brain, I love that. And I don't know how many times I heard, like the other agent didn't bring an S sheet. I didn't know what I was walking away with. And you're just like, how do you make decisions? And so then you're going to go into, and this should have had another pretty page that says investment opportunities, but this is small, but you'll get all of this when I'm done. But it's just going to go over different talking points. Obviously, they could sell and move up into a new home. They can invest, they can refinance, home improvements, debt consolidation, and paying for college. And then I like this. I only use it if it's helpful. I've always said I'm a full court press agent. I have everything in there. It doesn't mean that I use everything, right? So like when I have comparables on a listing appointments, I have actives, I have everything, right? But if I can sign a listing appointment at the price that we're in agreement on, looking at 2 comparables, I will do that. But I'm going to have it all there and go to it if I need it. And so in this equity opportunity matrix, what you do, and it's probably a little hard to see, but you could say, hey, I have 175 in equity and I want a $500,000 house. Here's an estimate of what your mortgage would be like, right? And so it's just another piece of information. I think this one's at 5%. I probably should update it, but it gets them in the ballpark, right? Just like a net sheet. It's not down to pennies, but knowing if it's a $2,000 mortgage or a $3,000 mortgage, like those are pretty big jumps. And so that's what that's here for. And this is, of course, only if you're talking about if selling comes up. And then I also, you guys know I'm a huge investor fan, a huge investor myself. I always want to give them rental information. I love house hacking. You know, if they kept their house, how much could they rent it for? Could they pull money out of it, etc. So you can just get these free. I used to use a paid service called Rentometer, but you can just get this free on Zillow now. They make you put in your email, which is annoying, but then they send it to you and you can do it for as many properties as you want. So this gives them the rent estimate for their house really, really quickly and easily. And then they can go through all of these and see what's the most similar, right? But again, it just gets them in the ballpark. And so for investing, because I love investing, so I have a lot of information on investing. So if investing is interesting to them, you can go through all of this with them. So this is how could you invest? If you're a homeowner, if you're not a homeowner, what kind of investments can I buy and how do I start? So in my piece here, I have here, we currently own this amount of rentals. Here's the kind of rentals that we own. If you don't have rentals, you can just leave that as a contact us, like contact me to get started. I'm doing an investor math is our next class in a couple of weeks. Just make sure if you're going to take an investor or client, this is like a little bit of a soapbox I've been on lately because I've been shopping for so many investment properties, and the amount of agents that aren't proficient in the very basic level knowledge needed to service an investor client well, please don't take them as an investor client until you've educated yourself. You can educate yourself and absolutely take them, but Investor Math 101 is coming. If you need to understand how to break down all of the different ways to evaluate a property, I would love to help you. So that's what's here. Here's the different ways. And again, this is just peeking them, guys. And if it makes sense to make a buyer consultation after that, do it, right? If you need to book a listing appointment, book a listing appointment, but that does not happen at this appointment, okay? Because you're not coming into this appointment trying to get business. You're coming into this appointment to service them, okay? So just remember that. Great, I'm so excited you want to start investing. Let's get a buyer consultation scheduled, okay? And then I love this document here. This is just looking at if they bought a $400,000 house now, paying for their kids' college. And so this kind of goes through the dollars and cents for that. So I love that math too. And then I have a market sheet in here. You're going to have to update to this for your market if you want to use it. But this is just what's your market doing, what's your average appreciation, things like that. So you can copy this and just make it relevant to your market center with your statistics. But I get that question a lot, especially, right, we're in a different market right now. So we're not seeing the appreciation numbers that we were before. And that's when that listing that we said no to, you know, they bought their house for $500 at the height and wanted to sell it. Well, they started at $650. And we, like, 5.25 was the absolute highest we would go. And they're like, we won't sell for a penny less than $600. Well, now it's at $550 and it's still sitting, right? So this can be helpful to say, hey guys, we're, you know, this year, this is what we're seeing in appreciation. So that's why that's there for you. And then of course we do a meet the team, and then you can personalize that for your own business. So that is the meat and potatoes. I have a little bit more information for you guys, but what kind of questions do you have about this that I can help answer?
Hey, Erin, thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom. I love this. I've thought about doing this in the past, but just didn't know how to get started. So I guess my question is, and maybe you talked about this before I jumped on. I'm sorry that I had to be late, but how are you initiating this conversation? I mean, is this like a Facebook post you're doing and people are signing up for their real estate review, or you're just offering this to all of your previous clients, or what? How are you getting these conversations started?
Yes, I don't think that's a bad thing to go back over. I talked about that briefly.
Okay.
Let's see if I can make my technology. Here we go. So this is the script that I used, right?
Okay.
But I do these. So I was telling the group, I do these for all of my past clients. I do them for my friends. I do them for anybody that I know. If you're in my database, you have the opportunity. And just like everything else in real estate, I think you have to be proactive. If you put it on Facebook, I mean, maybe somebody will sign up. But I mean, Lindsay, you've been doing this for a while. Your database is probably at, hundreds at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is what I would say, something like this. Like, and if it's something new, then I think that it's okay to say like, hey, this is something new I'm doing for my clients. You know what? I went to a training. I really want to institute this and provide this value to you, however you want to do it. But yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Anybody.
Cool.
I told them I did it for sale by owners because I started at Keller. So I did it the Keller way because I was super driven. And people that were in my database, I did it for them, and I sold 2 different houses. One was 6 years later, and this was my only communication with them. And the other thing is, Lindsay, you don't just want to do it digital and email it. You want to do it in person over Zoom. If you can't get them to do anything, I would mail a physical copy.
Okay.
Okay. And then, but you still got to follow up. So follow up, and my math was 3 to 1. So for every 3 of these, I got a piece of business, whether it was this person,
That's awesome.
a referral. So it's a really high return.
That's fantastic.
What else?
Cool.
So Erin, you mentioned, so you're doing these annually. Do you just put it in your CMA for each person of when you did it last and kind of the tickler for the next time that it's due?
Yeah. So I never used a CRM ever in my life. Don't do that. That's not the way probably to do it. So I just had it on a Google Drive, and I would just have the month, and I would have their name in a folder. And then in that folder, I would have the year. So it'd be, real estate reviews, 2025, Tracy Pratner, you know what I mean? Things like that. And then if you had done one the year before, it's nice if you keep them all together, because then you could see, because they're not as fun to do right now, right? I've done a few where the value has gone the wrong way, right? And, especially in new build neighborhoods, because new builds are doing what new builders are having to do right now. And so it's really good to have that information from previous years. So yeah, absolutely. However, you guys, I don't know if you saw, I signed up for a 1-year coaching program to get myself organized, because I am not at all organized at all. But I did have some organization in my business. And so that's what I did. But yeah, do it however you want. If you are a CMA or CRM, user, definitely set yourself up notifications to get it out the door. But I would do it by month.
Okay.
Anything else that I can help answer?
Just the only other question I had is, so after you've gone through like the first half of the presentation, then, and you kind of go through, okay, here's your equity. Here are the different things, the different ways that you can use the equity. Do you then just basically let the conversation go wherever they feel like it needs to go?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, just feel them out. Just say, hey guys, I'm probably to a fault a straight shooter, right? Like, hey guys, are any of these options you would like to explore more in depth, right? Because this meeting is a half an hour, right? The entire meeting, unless it turns into an hour, then I let it, of course. But this is just a quick overview, getting them, because I also do HomeBot. And I started that just a couple years ago. And so now, like, part of my closing is like, hey, I'm going to get you set up on an automated system, but this is using AI. I'm going to actually look at your house value one time a year, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what else? Okay. I just got a little bit more for you, and then I'll see if there's any more questions at the end. So it sounds like most of you are using a NetSheet, but in case you aren't, why I love a NetSheet is these main reasons. So it helps set expectations for your clients. It's super transparent, right? I think a lot of, with all of the NAR stuff going on, like it's that lack of transparency. Literally, your commissions are right there in your meeting. I think it reduces pricing or commission objections. Again, it differentiates you from other agents, and it allows decision making to happen at your appointment, right? Like if they know the bottom line, they can sign the listing agreement at whatever the price is that you guys have agreed on. So please, please, please use this. I'm going to share mine with you today. If you want, if you're a researcher, I found this, that Ninja Selling has a whole podcast just on the real estate review.